Ashes and echoes. They didn't mean to buy the cottage. It was a half joke, a nod to fantasy, a midlife lark. Robert had been flicking through auction listings one evening, and after 2 glasses, Emre said, "You should put a bid in." And Robert did. 2 weeks later, they were standing on a muddy lane in West Wales, staring at a moss-covered stone cottage with bowed walls and a slate roof that looked like it had survived a war. Robert had laughed, a real laugh, rare those days. "I suppose we're moving in." So they did. They called it a soft retirement, not quite letting go of London life, but easing off. Robert wrapped up his last architectural project, and Emre resigned from the consultancy firm he'd joined after the army. "We'll just restore it," Robert had said. "Spend a year or 2, as if the cottage was an excuse to breathe." The first month was bliss. They cooked together, the fire crackled each evening, and Robert fell in love with the silence. "There's nothing here," he said, standing outside one morning, coffee in hand. "You can hear the sheep breathe." His voice carried that gentle weariness Emre had always adored. Emre, more cautious, kept a notebook of things to do. Oil the beams, reinforce the western wall. Emre was always practical, always alert. He'd been an officer once. Tours of Bosnia, Helmand, Syria. He'd seen men unravel under the weight of what they couldn't name. He'd seen silence weaponized, seen fear creep in slowly, drip-fed through waiting and watching. That's why he'd noticed the shift before Robert did. It started small. At breakfast one morning, Robert paused mid-chew. "Thought I saw someone outside the kitchen window." Emre glanced out. "Only frost and sheep." He shrugged. "Perhaps your reflection?" Later, Robert mentioned hearing something upstairs, and they were both downstairs, like pacing. Emre searched the rooms. Nothing. "You're hearing the old timbers," he said, with a tight smile. "That or a ghost." Robert laughed. Not easily. When the call came from London, some freelance work, 3 days tops. Emre hesitated. Robert waved it off. "I'll be fine," he said, already halfway through a new sketch. "Honestly, I've got projects." Emre left reluctantly. In London, everything was noise and rush. He kept checking his phone. No texts, no missed calls, no messages. When he returned to the cottage, something was wrong. The door was unlocked. Ash smudged the floor with footprints. The furniture had been moved, pushed aside, as if to make space for something bigger. A tarpaulin had been pinned outside on the lawn, weighted down at the corners. On it, Robert was painting. Not sketching, painting. Huge sheets of paper, greys and blacks, charcoal, always the same figure, tall, cloaked in shadow, no face, a silhouette that looked like it had stepped out of a fire. Robert didn't look up. Emre called his name. No answer. He stepped forward and gently touched his shoulder. Robert flinched, wheeled round. His face looked thinner. His eyes were red-rimmed, smeared with charcoal dust. Mouth opened as if to speak, but he paused. "Who? Oh, It's you. It's you? Not Emre. Not love, just you. That night they argued. You're obsessed, Emre said, pacing the kitchen. You're not eating properly. You look like hell. Robert didn't respond. He just stared at the sketch pinned to the pantry door. His voice, when it came, was lower, unfamiliar. He's watching. I'm getting closer. Closer to what? Emre snapped. It's a picture, Robert. Just a picture. He was here before me. I'm just finishing his work. That phrase chilled Emre. Later, in bed, Robert whispered words in his sleep. Emre leaned in to listen. It wasn't English. Not quite Welsh. A guttural mutter, like something remembered from childhood nightmare. They went to the local pub the next day. Emre insisted. Robert protested, but eventually agreed. Inside, it was warm and dark, full of chatter. They ordered drinks. Robert stood awkwardly near the dartboard, while Emre chatted to the barman. Then an old man, white-bearded, pale-eyed, shuffled over. You're in Hill Cottage, aren't you? Yes, said Emre. The man pointed at Robert, who stood hunched, arms crossed. You're the painter, like the last one. Robert didn't react. What last one? The man shrugged. Painter, same cottage, always outside, same figure, wouldn't stop. He leaned closer. One night, he ran, screaming down the lane, never came back. Emre turned to look at Robert. His face was slack, not angry, blank, like he hadn't heard, or hadn't understood. Over the following days, the thing inside Robert began to shape. Would use strange words, phrases Emre had never heard him say in 30 years. Old-fashioned, clipped. At dinner, this broth is thin, like they served at Newtown Barracks. Robert had never been to a barracks. His posture changed. His walk stiffened. One night, Emre walked into the sitting room and saw him standing naked by the hearth, charcoal across his chest and strange deliberate marks. His mouth moved silently, whispering the same guttural sounds. Then Emre touched him. Robert's skin felt cold, and when he turned, his face wasn't quite his. Not just thinner, not just tired, different. The line of his jaw had changed. His smile was wrong. Emre had led men through villages cleared by shelling, where mothers sat still in houses with no roofs. He'd seen hallucinating from men who hadn't slept in 5 days. He'd seen trauma, madness, possession. This was not madness. One night they fought, screaming, plates thrown. Robert accused Emre of being an imposter, of being the thing that was really haunting the cottage. You lie to me with his face, Robert screamed. You wear his skin. Emre packed the car that night. Robert resisted, bit, scratched, thrashed like an animal. Emre, trembling, restrained him, like he had too many times before, with terrified boys in combat zones. Breathe, Robert, breathe. I'm not him, Robert sobbed. They fled before dawn. London was warm and loud and indifferent. Robert slept for 2 days straight. The charcoal marks faded from his arms. His voice softened. He called Emre love again. He wept when he saw the photos of them on the mantel. Emre didn't mention the paintings. Didn't ask if he remembered. A week passed, then 2. Robert went back to baking. Emre read the paper each morning with the radio on. They talked about maybe renting a flat in Brighton for the summer. Things felt normal. Until one morning. The flat was still. Emre stood at the kitchen window, slicing oranges. The sun broke through the clouds and lit the street below. He sipped his coffee. Then movement. Just beyond the glass. A shadow passed. Too tall. Too slow. He froze. He leaned to look. But there was no one there. No movement on the street. No shapes by the window. Just silence. Behind him, the sound of pages turning. Robert, seated at the table, sketch pad open, charcoal in hand, drawing. The figure was back, and this time it was smiling.